So this is the guy. This is who we're looking for. This is the one for this incident.
Coming up on DC News Now, arrested for exposing himself by a nature trail in Northern Virginia. Live update on the investigation. And later, DC officials expected to crack down on marijuana gifting shops. Well, what's the holdup? Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for DC News at noon now. DC News Now at noon, forgive me. I'm Mark Hall. Today is a DMV First Warn Day. Meteorologist Damon Matson joins us with the latest check on the forecast. Hey, Damon, I'm a little rusty. It's Monday afternoon, and I'm just trying to get into the mix, man.
Oh, yeah, and Mother Nature is going to try to keep us on our toes, too, here for my end of things. So, yes, it's going to be one of those days. We have some active weather on the way, hence the First Warn Day. Some of that could get dicey out there this afternoon and evening. Let's take a check. We already do have a flood watch in place that was issued earlier this morning. This covers our western counties along Interstate 81, Winchester, Martinsburg, Hagerstown, all included in that. Frederick and Maryland, Leesburg and Loudoun County. All areas west of Interstate 95. This flood watch goes until 8 p.m. Now, once you get along and east of Interstate 95, this flood watch goes until midnight tonight, and that includes the entire Beltway, the district here, and then as you go north into central Maryland, that is where the flood watch goes until midnight. So we have that threat for heavy rainfall and flooding. That is something we have had to deal with here for the last week as these multiple rounds of rain move through. But on top of that, this is a scenario where a cold front is crossing through, creating this rain and a few storms. And there's a chance that we could see a few severe thunderstorms this afternoon that could produce some damaging wind gusts. And a spin-up tornado is not completely out of the question, hence the level 1 risk on the severe weather outlook. Now, it's been rather quiet, but look at how quickly we're already starting to develop those heavier downpours and some rainfall back across western Maryland, West Virginia, and now we just saw a few of those cells popping up near Front Royal and that I-81, I-66 interchange in Northern Virginia. So this is the nature of things as we go into the afternoon and evening. The activity is going to continue to pick up as this cold front starts to sweep across the area from west to east. So we'll keep an eye on things just to our west as we move forward here. So we're going to have those rain and storms out there. Flooding is certainly going to be our main concern here, but severe weather is also on the docket as well, something we got to pay attention to. The good news is, though, the cold front does clear out by tonight, and then things are looking better as we go toward the end of the week. But we'll time out exactly when we could see the worst of the weather moving through today, coming up here in just a bit.
Okay, Damon, thank you. Well, after weeks of investigations, Fairfax County Police have arrested a man who they believe has been connected to a string of attacks on the W&OD Trail in Northern Virginia. DC News Now's Katie Rhee is live with us outside of police headquarters. Katie, what's the latest?
Good afternoon, Mark. Well, like you just said, a few hours ago, police announced they have their man, the one they believe is behind the string of attacks on the WOD Trail here in Fairfax. Now, just a few hours ago, police announced that on Thursday night, they arrested Alfaro Rodriguez, who police say moved to Herndon at the beginning of this year. So there's a string of 13 incidents that started back in July. And Rodriguez has now 5 charges against him that include indecent exposure. And he's currently being held at the Adult Detention Center without bond. Now, Rodriguez has an outstanding warrant in Suffolk County, New York, which is on Long Island. And that's for attempted rape and sexual assault that police say happened last year. Now, these were actually the charges that the fugitive unit arrested him for. And it was Friday that he was arrested on charges brought forward by Fairfax County Police.
He does have similar motives, like in New York, which is where the charges came from, and he does have an extensive history. It's very important to report these incidents, no matter how small they might feel it is, but we do learn that there are different things that people see when they're running on that path at various times during the day.
Now, over in Herndon, police are investigating 5 similar incidents to the ones that Rodriguez is facing here in Fairfax County, and we'll obviously keep an eye out for new information as it becomes available to us. But for now, outside of police headquarters in Fairfax, Katie Rhee, DC News Now.
Katie, thank you. Developing today, police said that a 17-year-old boy faces charges related to the murder of a man that took place in Woodbridge back in July. Prince William County Police said the teenager was in the juvenile detention center on unrelated charges when the charges of second-degree murder and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony were brought against him. Detectives said the teenager and a second person were responsible for shooting and killing 21-year-old Brian Darnell Marshall of Woodbridge. Investigators said that Marshall and the other man were with a third person on the sidewalk. Two people came up to the group and started shooting and then ran off. Well, new at noon, lawyers for former President Donald Trump say that a criminal investigation into the presence of top secret information has spiraled out of control, and they urge the judge today to leave in place a directive that temporarily halts core aspects of the Justice Department's investigation. Well, last week, the U.S. District Judge granted the Trump's team the request for an independent special master to review the records seized during the FBI search at the Mar-a-Lago estate last month. The judge also prohibited the department from examining the documents for investigative purposes for now. Well, Trump's lawyers said in their own motion today that the order was a sensible preliminary step towards restoring order from chaos. The Justice Department has asked the judge to lift that hold and said that it would appear to appeal the ruling to a federal appeals court. The department said its investigation is at risk of being harmed beyond repair if that order is not lifted. Well, Washington, D.C. officials were expected to crack down on so-called marijuana gifting shops at the beginning of September, but it looks like that's not happening. D.C. News Now's political and government reporter Leonard N. Fleming continues to follow this story, and he joins us with the latest. Leonard.
The district's so-called Joint Cannabis Task Force was expected to start targeting these shops that gift marijuana, but charge money for items like clothing or services such as massages. But advocates for these gifting shops say it hasn't happened yet, and city officials concur. Yet they warn that the inspections to make sure they are following city codes are still coming. D.C.'s Initiative 71 passed in 2014 that legalized possession of small amounts of marijuana for personal use. But it's illegal to buy or sell, hence the gifting concept that an estimated 100 or so shops began to adopt. The district has been under pressure from legal marijuana dispensaries to shut them all down. But the crackdown date of September 1st came and went without any inspections. I asked Mayor Muriel Bowser about it last week.
There hasn't been a delay. I don't know what you mean. Has there been a delay? Are you talking about Abra?
Yes.
Okay, you'll have to ask Abra if that's a policy, if that is an initiative of theirs.
Well, we asked the Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration about this, and interestingly enough, a spokesperson punted back to the mayor's office. A spokeswoman for the mayor said this today: government agencies will continue to coordinate and work together on the Cannabis Task Force. We will provide an update in the upcoming weeks. Leonard N. Fleming, DC News Now.
Leonard, thank you. Remember 9/11? It's been 21 years since nearly 3,000 people were killed during the attacks. Well, on Sunday, President Biden joined military leaders at the Pentagon for the annual Remembrance Service. 184 people died when American Airlines Flight 77 slammed into the building. 125 people in the Pentagon were killed. Everyone on board the flight from Dulles International Airport also died. The president reminded guests that the nation will never forget what happened that day.
These memories help us heal, but they can also open up the hurt and take us back to that moment when the grief was so raw. You think of everything they could have done if they had lived and just had a little more time. The experience you missed together, the dreams they never got to fulfill.
Colonel Canfield D. Boone, United States Army.
Well, as part of the remembrance ceremony, a bell went off remembering those killed at the Pentagon. Well, D.C. leaders are honoring the heroes who risked their lives on September 11th. D.C. News Now's Dave LaValle tells us how they're being remembered.
The face of evil and terror impacted our lives and countless U.S. citizens. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser reflected on the terrorist attack on the Pentagon, but she also discussed how September 11th made the city stronger.
We became more resilient, more watchful. We acquired a better understanding of the meaning of democracy and the meaning of freedom and our way of life.
All 64 people on board American Airlines Flight 77 died when the jet that took off from Dulles International Airport slammed into the Pentagon. 125 people inside the building also perished. But D.C.'s annual 9/11 service did not just recall the past. It also reflected on the lessons learned from it, said the department's chief.
We can never forget how important our partners are and the partnerships that we develop, not only across the agencies in the district government, but with our partners across the region.
There's another lesson to be learned from the attack, said the president of the Firefighters Union.
I can't underscore enough the effects that September 11th has had on the members of the first responder community as a whole. From our occupational diseases to our mental and physical health ailments that continue to plague our members.
The National Fallen Firefighters Foundation says an additional 5,380 first responders and survivors of the attacks around the country have died due to exposure to toxic air and materials. That's nearly double the number of people who died on September 11th.
I don't want the passage of time to dull our memories.
D.C. Council member Mary Che has organized the 9/11 services. While she also looks to the future, Che also looks to the past.
We need each and every one of us to pass on to the younger generation what actually happened and the performance of our brave fire and EMS.
The day terrorists attacked America.